Good morning and welcome back to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the Cup Karts North America Summer Nationals. You're watching it all live here on Kart Racer. As always, my name is Caleb Vieska. Alongside me here in the booth all weekend long, Alexander Searle. We had a great day of racing yesterday for the first round of heat races for the qualifying session, but today it's time to go racing. Main event time. The three of the big marquee national races here at Cup Karts North America. We started over at Charlotte Motor Speedway earlier this year for the Spring Nationals. We're here for the Summer Nationals, and we wait now until October for the CKNA Grand Nationals. Former Grand National champion alongside me here, Alexander Searle. How are you doing today? I know it's a later morning, I guess you could say, right? Starting a little bit later.
Yeah, not too bad. Got a chance to kind of get an hour more sleep this time around, Caleb, and a 9 a.m. start here at Batavia, Ohio. And again, this racetrack is going to provide some great racing action. They showed it all day yesterday. The difference between today compared to yesterday, Caleb, is that's it. One main event, and that's it. One and done here. Warm-ups to start the day. Ready racing right after that into the feature races. 15 laps, the distance are those races. And again, you don't really have a time to kind of wait like in the heat races yesterday where you have two chances at it. Yeah, the points play a factor in and where you line up today for the mains, but it's still a one-and-done situation here. And so for the drivers have to start towards the back, then have to work their way forward rather quickly here. But warm-ups underway, starting with the 206 juniors. The biggest difference between today compared to yesterday, Caleb, every driver on the racetrack at the same time. We're used to the groups being split up into 2, 3 for the qualifyings yesterday, but 2 groups for a majority of the classes yesterday for all the heat races. Today, they're going to see each other for the first time on the racetrack all together.
Yeah, it's going to be good, right? I mean, for the first time, I think, in the weekend, we had odd, even groups, like you said, Alex, and it's going to be different, right? Maybe your friend is on the other side. There's more drivers with the same chassis, same colors, same logos as you on the other side. So you're going to have, I think some teammates that were split up. I think one of the biggest things that I noticed as well yesterday, right? James Overbeck was one of the only PPK Coyotes, and I believe it was the light class that he was kind of stuck alone, right? Fighting against the rest of the pack. And we've seen how well teamwork does here, right? Yesterday, Dylan Amundsen, Colin Warren, 2 drivers that worked really well together. You look on with Addison Ianello, James Overbeck, they worked really well together. And as well, to end off the day, Ian Quinn and Henry Wheeler. All teammates, all friends, and this is really what this racetrack has kind of given us today, where you have these long straightaways, you have the technical sections. Ian told us yesterday that he was, purposely taking a tighter line into that last hairpin to try and avoid a pass from James Overbeck, to try and keep a stealth Burrell up at the front for Mark Steele and his camp.
Yeah, looking at the warm-ups here, and again, you talk about teammates, right? This is, of all series, probably the most prominent that we see, teams working together. Yeah, teamwork is a thing, but especially here at Cup Karts North America, where you have so many drivers under 1/10 half the time in the same class, running multiple classes, and in a engine package that requires teamwork, requires 2 to 3 go-karts to work together, it is better to have a look-alike go-kart alongside of you to at least have that backing behind you or in front of you to kind of work together. Look at the warm-ups here. We're seeing 4 different teams working together. Got Sam Tutwiler, Nate Dupuis, Holden Harder, Derek Wargo, 4 of the fastest drivers here in this 206 junior class. And you got to remember, Caleb, looking back to yesterday, Dupuis, probably the fastest driver of the day, lap time-wise, throughout the Friday practices into happy hour and qualifying in the heats. But with a DNF to his name, he rolls off outside the top 10 today.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work for Nathan Dupuis to do it. He's been fast so far all weekend long, and that's looking back to yesterday. How about we take a look back to last year at the Summer Nationals, whenever we went over to Pittsburgh. Here's a flashback. And it was all about Isaac Malquit, Cade Yeager, and Holden Harder, 3 drivers that were racing up at the front that weekend. And very similar to kind of what we're seeing here this weekend, Pittsburgh had a lot of grip on that racetrack. You saw a lot of drivers across the weekend on 2 wheels. We saw a little bit of that yesterday. I think it was more extreme whenever we were in Pittsburgh. But, to talk about these kids, right? This was last year. Isaac Malquit now racing in senior light. Cade Yeager as well in the senior classes. And you saw tempers flared there with Holden Harder and Cade Yeager a little bit.
Yeah, situations like that, I'm sure Holden Harder's going to learn his lesson from that one and, kind of apply that to this weekend at MCC because, whenever you have 2 karts right behind the leader like Isaac Malquit was in the situation, you never really want to have a situation like this occur where you start the race for second. And I'm sure at that point, Cade Yeager probably thought, listen, if you're going to ruin my race, I might as well throw it right back down the inside here. But it was nobody else up front other than little Sizzle. Isaac Malquit, the 14-year-old freshman, but no freshman to the senior class. He's already been strong this year at Charlotte Motor Speedway. looking strong so far this weekend as well at MCC. He won at pit race last year in the junior class.
And how much would it mean for the kid sitting in third now on your screen, Holden Harder? He finished third last year. What can you do to go 2 spots better here if you're Holden Harder?
I think you just learn from what we just saw, right? I mean, in a situation like that, like I mentioned, you're pushing Cade Yeager, you're getting to the bumper of Isaac Malquit. Oftentimes, as much as it's so inviting to go for the moves there, you got to be a little patient, even on the last lap. And I know it's asking a lot of the young drivers, but 2 karts faster than 1, you never want to create a race that isn't for the lead in the last lap if you can help it. So I think that's the biggest thing. But checker flags in the air for the entire junior field here. Derek Wargo, a great start to his morning for the Drive Your Line Comp Kart machine, the 106.997, the only driver in the 106 minute bracket there to start the morning. Holden Harder, Nate DePuy, Sam Tutwiler. So the 4 drivers that we saw on our screen for a majority of the warm-up session, well, they finish 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to AJ Stoner in 5th. We saw him get that crazy heat number 2 win there, Caleb, yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good end to the day for Sam Tutwiler and the Mark Steele team there as well. A couple of other notables throughout the grid yesterday. Christopher Yaltzi with a couple of DNFs. I mean, he's shown good pace in the past. We look back at Charlotte. He was a name that we were saying a lot whenever he was getting himself kind of into the mix. Unfortunately, just didn't end the way that he would have wanted, I think, in either one of the heat races. Brady Shad, also very strong yesterday. Talked about him a little bit. Alex, he has a good starting spot here. Won the first heat race in the odd group. You look back to the second heat race, we were predicting he had some sort of issues. Spoke to his dad last night, Bart, and he was telling us that, you know, the bearings inside of that spindle on the front end of the chassis completely degraded. So definitely not gonna, didn't help his run in that second heat race. What's
funny about the whole situation, not really funny, but what's just so ironic is, you know, Bart told us after the fact, you know, Brady said every single race, every single session so far this weekend, you know, he's telling his dad, it's not turning. And Bart was like, oh, no, I mean, you're winning. There's no way the kart's bad.
Yeah.
And when Brady went off the racetrack and actually made the mistake in heat number 2, that's when the bearings inside the spindle pretty much exploded, and it caused them to be unable to turn right. And that's why the kart was so slow in all the corners on the last couple of laps there. It was bogging down in the middle of the corner. And it was almost a blessing in disguise because it was an issue that was occurring. It was getting to that point where it was going to happen. And now they have fresh bearings in those spindles. It's going to be looking pretty good today.
Yeah, it should look pretty good, and it should look pretty good for a couple of the younger kiddos here coming out now. The cadets out onto the racetrack. And again, I mean, yesterday you kind of look back at the day some of them had. It was Miles Brownfield in that first race. We saw Spencer Height drop a wheel off the racetrack, went all the way back to 8th, and had to drive all the way back up to 5th. And then you look at the second heat race where his teammate Ruben Greer was actually leading the field in the second heat. Went off the racetrack, and he had to drive all the way back up to 2nd at the end of it, and he went back to, I believe it was 9th. So the number 20 machine was, I tell you, was definitely fast. And again, you look at Spencer Height, he was the Kid Kart champion last year here in the Summer Nationals, and Ruben Greer, the reigning Summer Nationals champion. So the number 20 Nitro Kart machine, the number 20 Nitro Kart machine is going to be one to watch here this weekend, Alex.
Both Nitro karts, right? The 31 of Spencer Height as well. They've been super quick all weekend long. I mean, you can't fail to mention the Nitro Kart, you know, brand has a pretty strong contingent here in the cadet class. You go back to Jackson Reinholz, Drew Schneider as well. The 11 machine has been quick. But this class has been pretty much anyone's for the taking, right? It's been headed by the 2 Nitro karts, the 31 and the 20 machine of Greer and Spencer Height. But you can look back to Brownfield. You talked about it in heat number 1, right? His dad kind of walked by you in the morning yesterday, said, look out for number 26, and that's all he said.
26 in cadet. That's all I was told, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, like, all right. And I just kept walking. I didn't think much of it, but then I was sitting here in the booth, and I was like, 26 in cadet. 26 in cadet. They came out on the racetrack, I'm like, all right, kid starting 6th, you know, show us something. Then he goes out to win the race, and I'm like, oh, all right, I get it. I get it now. I get what I was supposed to come out there and realize in that first heat race. But I will say, 26 did have issues in that second heat race. Miles Brownfield finished all the way down at 13th. We saw him kind of get into it at the end of the race in that last section, turns 13, 14, right after the horseshoe. So, I mean, again, he's going to find himself starting, I think, a little bit ways down the order here later on today. Got to find those starting grids as well here, Alex, that are actually posted on the Cup Karts North America Facebook. So I'll get on that here in a second.
Yeah, well, a couple laps into this warm-up session, and again, Spencer Height, Jackson Reynolds, top of the board so far. A couple other drivers to talk about, right? Wyatt Huntsbarger on the Magic Machine. He was up there throughout the day yesterday, especially in heat number 2. The race was pretty strong for him. I know quite a bit of incidents occurred in the middle part of that second heat race, but let's not reminisce about yesterday. Let's take a look back at what we saw last year at the Summer Nationals at Pit Race, the 2024 206 Cadet Summer Nationals. It was headed by none other than Ruben Greer. On the Magic Machine last year, this was the lead that he had, Caleb. It was quite some margin.
Yeah, it was a good margin for Ruben Greer last year. And yesterday, again, right, you talk about the drive that he was having, working his way up there. And in second in this cadet class was Hayden Lawson, who's now over in the sportsman side of things here this year. And he's had really good pace so far throughout the weekend. So the number 10, again, looking to go one spot better in his respective class. And the same thing goes for Ruben Greer, who is, was in the second spot here yesterday. Today he's looking to go one spot better and reclaim the 2025 Summer Nationals here this year.
Yeah, what better way to make your jump up to 206 Cadet this year than go out there and go back-to-back, in cadets here at the Summer Nationals. 2024 champion, looking to make it a 2025 champion. He saw the checkered flag first from Jason Burgess. You saw what it meant for him and the Magic crew that weekend. Now on the Nitro Kart machine, Ruben Greer looking to do it again this weekend, but he's got a lot of competitors that want the same deal. Spencer Height looks quick. Drew Schneider is quick this morning, top of the board, a 108.75, a 704. Down the order, Elam Stoner's been pretty quick this weekend. The 41 machine's been fast. Caden Taruno, you can't talk about the low-key racing Sodi machine and not talk about how up and down of a day he had. The pace was there, but man, the luck just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't there for Caden. He sets a roll off 8th here later on today, but that's going to put Kid Kart reigning, I guess you could say, Summer Nationals champion, the 31 of Spencer Height. Starting on the pole position, he's going to start alongside Elam Stoner, Ruben Greer to Miles Brownfield. Again, the winner in that first heat race. He's starting 4th, Jackson Reynolds, and then you have to go a little bit ways back to find the notable, like Caden Taruno. And then further down, right, a couple of other drivers I know have been mixed up throughout this field. Drew Schneider in 10th as well. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of work, right? You saw Schneider as well. He was one of the drivers involved in the incident in heat race number 2 at the end of the day yesterday. And I think he indeed did finish further down in that second one. And we'll take a look at it again here. But yeah, Schneider finished 17th at the end of the second heat race. And again, he had top 5, top 10 pace all day long yesterday. Yeah, right now showing top 3 pace. I mean, this trio's working pretty well together. You got the 20 machine, you got the 24 there of Jackson Reynolds, you got Spencer Height there, or you got Drew Schneider on the 11 machine, sorry. So again, these 3 working well together. Spencer Height by himself, you mentioned it, right? Last year's champion in the 2024 Summer Nationals, but not 206 Cadet. In Kid Kart, let's take a look back at what we saw from Spencer Height's dominant Kid Kart win last year. White flag in the air this time for Spencer Height, and again, there was not a lot of challenge behind him. No, I mean, you kind of talk about the runaway that he had in the Kid Kart class, right? Again, lower numbers, only 6 of them racing last year, but with weather as well looming in the area there in Pittsburgh last year. But this year, right, it's been a lot different at a racetrack that's provided us, a lot of drafting opportunities, a lot of passing opportunities as well. It's been a dogfight every single time that Spencer Height has been out there. So if he's expecting to have a day like he had last year, it's going to be a lot harder to get, and you're going to need help from the driver second on back to get that. But I mean, in your first year in the cadet category, if you could go back to back, Alex, this is going to be a name to watch as well whenever we get into the Grand Nationals in October. I can't remember the last time I've seen a driver go from Kid Kart, make the jump up to cadet, and be as quick as Spencer Height's been on his debut year. It's been very impressive to watch the 31 machine on that Nitro Kart chassis roll around all throughout the year. And again, for Spencer Height, he saw the checkered flag first at pit race last year and won by, I want to say, 29 seconds. A dominant win last year at the 2024 Summer Nationals. Yeah, that was great. And again, this year he's looking to relive this moment right here. The double checkered in the air. The 31, he's been quick, real quick, and in heat race number 2, he bounced back after a 5th place finish in that first heat race. So you can't fail to forget, though, he made it hard on himself in both heat races. Yeah, of course. He led both heat races, and at some point in either race yesterday, he'd somehow find his way back in 5th and 6th. Heat number 2, the one that he won, he actually dropped it off the racetrack before driving to the field again.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? So just got to make it easier on yourself just a little bit here, fellas. And, I mean, he started off the day real good here. He's currently in 1st. Down in 2nd is Ruben Greer. So 2 of the Nitro karts we're going to see go at it. But issues here
McBride.
for the 611 of McBride. Hunter McBride that is only able to complete 4 laps here in the morning warm-up session. But again, the kid who was on top last year, Ruben Greer, he has the fastest lap here in the morning session, and Spencer Height, the Kid Kart champion, currently sits 2nd. That'll be exciting to see when we get into main event racing action later on today. The features kick off at about 10:40 a.m. Eastern time if you're over in the central side of the country. It'll be at 9:40. Make sure to join us for all the live action later on today. Only $9.99 a month. You can become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live. Here are your unofficial results in the Sunday morning warm-up sessions. Ruben Greer and Spencer Height, 2 drivers to look out for. Quick commercial break from our side. We're back with more warm-up action set to come your way.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? It's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
How about John Bird for TV Kart USA on home soil? They take the win in Amarillo.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
.206 heavy out onto the racetrack now. The reigning Summer National Champion Owen Lloyd going to lead this field out onto the track with Clay Settles, Eli Fox, all of them in tow. It was a good day in the heavy class yesterday for Owen Lloyd here, Alex. And again, he was challenged by the PPK Coyote of Christopher McKeithen throughout.
Yeah, Owen Lloyd's been quick, but I mean, we saw it after happy hour how fast that go-kart was, and in the second heat, they let him get away, and it was no looking back for Owen Lloyd. And he's been the only driver so far this weekend that I've seen be able to get out to a lead and pull away by himself. He put purple lap after purple lap together, and his fastest lap actually came on the last lap of the race in that second heat as well. So just to give you an idea of how quick that MGM machine has been all weekend long. He's been the driver everybody's chasing. You talk about the PPK Coyotes and McKeithen. you can't also fail to forget, you know, you got the likes of Bryce Frank, Mark Steele, Nick Sobiek, who has had some bad luck, I'd say, throughout the weekend, but the pace has probably been there for him. Clay Settles has, again, started in the back for both of those heat races, had to work his way through the field, finished about mid-pack as well. So there's a couple of drivers here that I think can take the challenge to Owen Lloyd. Eli Fox being one of them as well, his MGM teammate. And Eli, again, a solid day in heavy, probably not as good of a day in medium. We saw his hand afterwards, Caleb, there, and after getting run over a little bit throughout that second heat race. I think a little too aggressive was the senior medium field there, but Eli Fox looking for a little bit more here, and his hand's feeling pretty good, I think, this morning. But let's take a look back at last year's 2024 Summer Nationals here for the senior heavy class.
Yeah, last year it was all about Owen Lloyd and Mark Steele, again, who was racing in the heavy class. He's racing here this weekend as well. But last year, Colin Aitken, you know, close in the state of Georgia to Owen Lloyd, both of them racing over at AMP. You know, they had a good relationship together, and, you know, Aitken on a different chassis last year. Now he's not with us here this weekend, but, again, he was there working with Mark Steele, trying to take the win away. Again, very similar to this weekend. Owen Lloyd, the driver that everybody has been chasing, and you saw Mark get on it, you know, there in the last couple of corners to try and be there in the end. And, you know, this weekend he's found himself kind of trying, you know, little by little, trying to get himself closer and closer pace-wise. He's had a good pace, right? Put it on the pole here this weekend in Cincinnati, but last year in Pittsburgh, it's a little bit of the same, right? Seeing a whole lot of the rear bumper of the South Georgia karting machine.
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw this incredible run of the line here, because at this point in the race, you probably thought Owen Lloyd just had it locked up, but you see Colin Aitken giving the tap to Mark Steele down the back straight for the last time, the chicane. And Mark Steele, I mean, this is the run of the line. The difference between this run of the line at pit race versus what we're going to see here at MCC, it's a straight run of the line. I think if the run of the line was at MCC last year, Mark Steele might have had Owen Lloyd's number there.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, that's the name of the game. We saw it all the way throughout the heat races yesterday. Out of this corner right here, turns 13 and 14, and through the turn 15 kink coming up, if you get close enough, within a kart length, maybe 2 kart lengths with the help from behind in third, you can get a pretty solid run of the line. That's a long enough run of the line. I kind of referenced Talladega yesterday, referring to how long the straightaway is before that start-finish line. It's almost towards turn 1. You can have a pretty good chance. More often than not, I think the winner yesterday came from second place on the last lap. So compared to pit race, where that last corner is a bit of an awkward left-right-hander and you can't really get a great run, here you have very good chances to kind of make that run work.
Yeah, a lot of drivers have, you know, been making adjustments. Yesterday when I was walking the paddock, there was, you know, drivers out there kind of working on their karts until, you know, all the lights on the racetrack were off. Everything, you know, the facility was kind of closed down, and there were still people out there in the paddock, right, with their RVs here on site, just, you know, working, going hard at work.
One of them was the number 3 right there.
Yeah, and one of them was the number 3. You know, his dad Todd was working on his actually medium chassis. He's happy about the heavy one, but they were going to work at the medium chassis, just finding whatever else they could find. Just felt like they had way too much grip at the end of the night as well.
Mark Steele's hand in the air. He's coming in a little bit early, I think, here for this one, unless some of them are coming in. So Bolt's coming in, Steele's coming in. They said, you know what? That's it for me in this warm-up session. I got what I wanted out of my chassis and my go-kart, but nonetheless, Randall Potter now top of the board here in the 206 senior heavy warm-up class. Spoke to Randall actually yesterday, and he said, listen, been feeling pretty good. They're rolling off P6 today for the main event. The pace has been there for the Roger Racing Development chassis, and yeah, he's been quick. Adriano Iannuzzi's been a driver as well that I think if he had some better luck yesterday, would have had a lot more to say about the results of the day, especially in senior medium. But in heavy, he's been pretty solid, been one of the drivers to take the fight to the top spot. McKeith and Roderick Bolton. You look back to where Owen Lloyd is right now, it's 7th in the warm-up session, but again, he's by himself, and he elects to do that. That's kind of an Owen Lloyd standard, right, where he goes out by himself, wants to see how his chassis feels in clean air with no one in front or behind him. I think it gives him the best read of how his MGM package is going to handle throughout the day, and we saw it in heat number 2. He didn't need anybody to help him to pull away. He's probably planning on more of the same today.
There's a couple of drivers, like you mentioned earlier, Alex, with bad luck. Brady Atwood was one of those. He, you know, qualified, I believe it was inside of the top 10 or just on the edge of it. And yesterday with a first lap incident, climbing over the top of AJ Roderick, or I'm not sure if it was Roderick, you know, going up in the air. But, you know, that being said, Brady Atwood finished that first heat race down in 23rd. And along with him in 24th, DNFing in this section right here that we're going through, Nick Zobiak. And again, it just hasn't been the climb up that Wicked Nick would have wanted, or that Brady, I think, would have wanted looking into heat 2 here. At the end of it, Atwood finished 11th, so he made up a couple of spots. Zobiak only up to 18th, and that's given that he's had a top 5 pace throughout the weekend, Alex.
Yeah, but again, I mean, once you start towards the back and you can't kind of get out of your own way, and it's tough to get around this place consistently and make the move stick if you have nobody to help you, you kind of get stuck there. Brady Atwood made it look pretty good yesterday, rolling off last for that second heat race, rolled up to 11th when it was all said and done. So he's going to, I want to say, fire off towards the mid-pack here for this main event today. So the number 6 MGM machine, again, we know he has the pace to get it done. The unlucky incident that happened to him in heat number 1, collecting Nick Sobiek, unfortunately, with the contact that we saw to turn number 3. But a lot of drivers diving into the pit lane just right before the checkered flag. No need to really go out there and do one more lap. But let's talk about Jason Burgess here a little bit.
How about this, man?
You called it yesterday.
How about this? I said he was going to dress like Uncle Sam. He proved me wrong. He just put the flag on. He put it on, Stars and Stripes. Here we go, July 4th weekend. That's awesome. There's nothing better to it. There you go, Jason Burgess. What a guy.
He blends in with the flag, too.
Yeah, this is great.
I can't even see the checkered flag.
He's going to give us, I would say, some good panning shots whenever we're there for the national anthem, so it'll be good. Yeah, that being said, we look forward now to our
Tim Shutt, at least in that first heat race, was within a half second of the leader at all times in that one. Second heat race, obviously, with the carnage that ensued behind Bolton. You know, not as much of a fight was taken to the 22, but today's a new day. Today's a longer race, a different track, and Caleb, you and I kind of roamed the paddock a little bit and talked about to a couple of drivers of, you know, what the track was like. 'Cause visually, we thought that it had, you know, quite a bit of grip to it. The track's getting rubbered in, and for most drivers, they would agree with us. Some drivers, though, were struggling actually with freer go-karts, which is surprising to me, but I guess it all depends on, you know, the tubing of the chassis, the setup that you normally tend to go to compared to what you have to run here at MCC, and it goes to show you that it's not all sunshine and rainbows under those tents.
Yeah, not at all. Not all sunshine and rainbows. You know, at the end of the day, so a lot of drivers kind of, you know, working on go-karts. Heard from one family that they were working on kart for about 5 hours, all the way until 9 p.m. at night, just trying to dial it in. And again, we were here pretty late yesterday. Alex, I believe we didn't leave the property until about 10:20. You know, just here, and there was a lot of people that are staying here, right? So they haven't left the property all weekend long, but you know, it's been long, right? With all the racing, with the back-to-back racing, but in my eyes, you get to the Sunday, it all kind of, you look back at it all, and you look at the experience that you had, and you know, when you go back to your local track or whatever, at the end of the day, you know, you come out of here with an experience, with a lesson as well that you know, you're hopefully learning in a good way or bad, I guess you would say.
There's Michael Wells, a 60 machine, who found some pace throughout the first heat race. The second heat race was unfortunately an innocent bystander, I'd say, in an incident with Eli Yanko and Don Monsian there, and the three of them kind of got into it, and unfortunately the DNF's going to set him back to roll off today in the main event a little bit further back than he probably would like. I mean, looking at Michael Wells, he's actually rolling off in 15th out of 15. Yanko in 14th, but up front, Bolton and Chalmers, the top 2 spots. Tim Shutt, we talked about him in heat number 1, probably the driver that took the fight the most, Todd Bolton, rolls off 3rd, and then Don Monsian's brother there, Scott, in 4th.
Yeah, it should be a good one later on today. Checkered flag here in the Legends class. Todd Bolton picking up where he left off yesterday, a 107.745 for the number 22, Michael Wells, the number 60. Across the line second to Doug Cook, to Jeff Chalmers, and Tim Shutt, your top 5. We're excited to see the main event racing action later on today. Only $9.99 a month. You can become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live. Main event's taking off at 10:40 a.m. Eastern, 9:40. If you're over in Central Time, you're not going to want to miss any of the racing action later on today. Your kit cards head out onto the racetrack next.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Brandon? You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Florida kart racers, you asked for it, and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Welcome back here to the 2025 CKNA Summer Nationals here at MCC. Kid Karts have now hit the racetrack for their warm-up sessions, and on your screen right now is the driver that they've all been chasing. Maddox Nieves there, the 23 machine, has been so quick all weekend long. A couple drivers have been able to take the fight a little bit to Maddox there, but whenever Maddox goes out to the lead, it's been pretty tough to catch up to the 23.
Yeah, the 23 has been, I think, one of the drivers to watch so far this weekend. Again, we saw him out in Charlotte there as well. He was quick there, and here this weekend he's been just as fast. A huge support group for him as well in our live chat. Good to see you guys watching on from home. Let us know where you're watching from as well. We'd like to know. We'd like to send you guys our best wishes for waking up. No better way to start the morning rather than to watch some Kart Chaser warm-ups live all morning long. But here we have 9 drivers total joining us throughout the weekend. Actually, 8 drivers total joining us throughout the weekend. It's been great to have Liam Vaughn, Nieves, the likes of Reddick, Millie Clements, Aubrey Babcock, Will Holzner, Mike Hayen, and Tony Beam. These 8 drivers that we've had so far this weekend, and all of them, I think, very unique in their own respect here, Alex. It's been really, really cool to see, the different stories, the different families, all racing here, having a good time, enjoying it, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, I think we said it a bunch yesterday, right? That's the idea behind the kid kart class. Have a good time, enjoy yourself, and as long as the kids are learning, and the parents and the mechanics and the teams are having a good time, that's what's important. But Maverick Reddick right now in his second lap, a 1:21.393. I gotta say, I mean, compared to the lap times we saw yesterday, a 1:21.3 was equivalent to the best lap that I saw throughout the heats yesterday. So Maverick's pretty quick, and we know that CRG machine, when he gets out front, is hard to catch. He put up a pretty good fight to Maddox Nieves in that first heat race. The second heat race, I think Maverick, and Liam Vaughn had a pretty good fight for a second there, and it allowed for Nieves to kind of pull away just a little bit. But it's all to play for today in the main event. The trophies are won today.
Yeah, and again, it's all about going faster than previous times that you've set. Mav, I think, set a 121.2 yesterday. He's at a 121.3 here to start off the morning. Again, Nieves won both of the heat races yesterday. Look at Heat 1, Maverick Reddick finished second. Liam Vaughn just right behind him. In third to Tony Beam, to Aubrey Babcock, Will Holzner, Mike Hayen, and Millie Clements. Your 8 drivers, that's how they finished in that first heat race. And towards the end of the race, Mav was definitely getting a lot closer towards the end of it. In the second one, Maddox Nieves, like you said, pulled away. There was an incident in turn number 2, I think, that set the rest of the field back, like the likes of Liam Vaughn, who ended up in 6th at the end of it. So we're excited to see the number 10 get out there as well. The Mean Green Machine work his way around the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati here this weekend. But again, Liam's slated to start in 3rd. Reddick is slated to start on the outside in 2nd, with Nieves leading us away here later on today.
I always love looking at the lap times and seeing how consistent these young kids are. I mean, Maverick Reddick's been within 2 to 3 tenths of his best lap throughout the warm-up so far today, and that's all you can really ask for, because basing it off of the heat races yesterday, that's the biggest difference throughout the class. A lot of these young kids can put some good laps together, but it's when those races get long. I mean, 8 laps for these young kids yesterday in the heat races. Speaking of heat, the heat races in the heat yesterday, 8 laps is a lot for these young kids. It's a lot to ask for, and to stay consistent around a racetrack that already is hilly enough and blind corners for the tall guys, especially the young kids. A lot of these corners are probably blind corners for them. So
how do they stay awake? That's the real thing. How do you stay awake from getting here at waking up in the morning at about 6? Your mom's rushing you out the door at 7. We gotta get there. We gotta get there early, an hour before we go hot, right? And then you're here from about 7 a.m. all the way till the last session for them yesterday, I think, was supposed to be at around 6, right? These kids definitely got a bedtime, and I think yesterday we ran a little bit late.
They definitely had some naps in between, for sure.
I doubt it. These kids are always running around, drinking too much Gatorade, I think, running around the paddock all day yesterday, just hanging out with each other, really. It's, yeah, I mean, they stay busy. They stay busy. They can't have energy drinks like we can to stay awake, but, it's...
They don't need it.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. Too young.
Well, checker flags out here for the kid karts in their warm-up session. Hands up for everybody. Let's see what the last set of lap times look like for the rest of the field right now, because Maverick Reddick has had the field on notice here this morning, a 121.3. Like you said, his best lap yesterday was a 121.2 during the race, but again, good way to start the morning. Good forward momentum there for the CRG crew. Liam Vaughn, Will Holzner, Maddox Nieves, the driver that swept the day yesterday, rounds out 4th. Aubrey Babcock, Tony Beam, Mike Hayen, Millie Clements didn't go out for the warm-up session here in Kid Kart.
You want to hear some Kid Kart tech talk?
Let's hear it.
All right, so in the Kid Kart class, the 206 engine, obviously a pretty big engine package for the small karts, right? The actual Kid Karts, which are super, like a lot more, I guess you could say, a lot smaller than the regular Cadet Kart. But a lot of people go up to the Cadet Kart because it's actually faster than that regular Kid Kart.
Yep.
But then you run into the issue, right? These kids come in at 5, 6 years old, and they're too small to really wheel the Cadet Kart, right? It's a little bigger. So that could be like, I don't know. That's just a little tech thing, I guess, for people at home that are watching. Some karts look bigger than others because they're
that's the biggest
karts.
thing. If you're watching and wondering why some of the chassis are bigger than others in Kid Kart, it's not because there's 2 different go-karts out there. It's because some of them probably just can't reach the pedals, aren't strong enough to wheel the go-kart. I know when I go back to Homestead and I coach some drivers in Kid Kart there, and we move up to the Cadet chassis, we put those pedals as close as we can to the driver because, like you said, it is a little bit quicker on the Cadet chassis for sure.
They kind of look like transformers from the front end with all the heel rests that are elevated, the pedals that are super thick. So
you use those, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. Anyway. No, it's been great to be here on July 4th weekend. Great to spend it here as well. Watch some 206 racing. I know myself and yourself, huge enthusiasts. I, still race the package. You are looking to get back into the package. But even then, how have you seen this kind of also progress throughout the years, Alex? I feel like you were in the early stages of Cup Karts North America, then you come back. This is actually your second event, working one. I mean, you've been in multiple. I would say more than probably I have. But you come back years years after you
I
had
had this
your
conversation with JD Gunn 2 days ago, and I said, listen, I mean, I raced Grand Nationals 2 through 5, and the progression from there alone was huge. I mean, from the first event that I ran, where each class had maybe 30 to 40 go-karts today, and that was good, right, for the Grand Nationals. I mean, now when you go to the Grand Nationals, we're breaking records, right, for how many entries they get every single year. It seems like it goes up more and more. We're hitting 100. We're hitting triple digits on half the classes, right? So it's incredible to see the growth. It's almost double from the last time that I ran Grands. I think the last Grand Nationals that I ran was the 5th one, and we hit 70, I think, in medium. But again, it's more than that every year now at Grand Nationals. And not only that, but I mean, just the work that's gone in behind the scenes, right? We have the cameras now. We have the point system. There's so much work. The subdivisions, right? We have all the south, the east, the north, the Canadian division now as well. I mean, there's so much that goes involved. I know when I ran CKNA, there was one subdivision. It was just the north. All right, it was the north, and then you have the national scene. Now we have 3 plus Canada. So again, there's just so much that goes in behind the scenes for CKNA. They put in so much work, and they do a really good job, I think, of listening to the community and seeing what they want and what they don't want. Because again, the 206 group, it's a tight knit group, right? They all want to race the Briggs and Stratton package. We all want to watch it, and so I think CKNA does a really good job of kind of listening to what people want and putting on a good show. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, the growth of the series throughout the year, right? You're at 234. This is, for them, a quote-unquote down weekend. And then you look at what's a good weekend, right? When you're looking at 600, I mean, that's more than any of the big national series across the nation that we have. But it's great. It's an affordable package, and it's been really cool to see the progression of it as well, becoming, I think, this staple of American karting. But out on the racetrack now, Carter Kilgo going to lead him out with Kelvin Zing right behind. Kelvin had a good day yesterday in senior light. I don't think you can say the same about the day he had in the medium to end it off right with the DNF at the end of it, but he's still looking for his maiden national race victory. Got the first regional race victory a couple years ago back in 2022 at Speed Sports Racing Park. And now this weekend with, again, a driver that he's helped kind of bring up and teach as well a little bit. Carter Kilgo, the rookie's been impressive, but yesterday bad luck plagued them, I think, more than anything. Yeah, you look down the order of where they're going to line up today for the senior light event. You talk about McKeithen, Owen Lloyd, Overbeck, Kelvin Zing rolling off in 4th in the senior light main event. And that's a driver that you and I both spoke to yesterday there, Caleb. Yeah, McKeithen was quick, but how about some girl power here? Emily DeMaster, Jordan Klein, Addison Ianello, all 3 of them have been real quick as well here in the senior light class. Addison, again, she qualified on the pole. Jordan's been up there fighting inside of the top 10, and DeMaster as well has had a lot of top 10 starts throughout the day. I'll take it a step further. Look at the starting lineup. DeMaster 21st, Jordan Klein 22nd, Cameron Reed 23rd, Addison Ianello 24th. So an all-girl row 11 and row 12. Hey, there you go. And it's not to say that they should be back there. The pace has been there for all 4 of them to be up there in the top 5, top 10. We saw the drive Cameron had yesterday as well on her Reed Motorsports machine, and again, she was cutting through the field. Addison as well. I mean, she was the fastest driver overall in the qualifying session. I think Jordan's been looking for a little bit more in the light class, but in the medium class, right? She was getting her elbows out racing, sending some moves into the hairpins, and they were all kind of looking for a little more, and for Cameron as well. I really think both of the qualifying sessions that she had yesterday, just I really think it was borderline disastrous in the heavy class, and then here, it took her a while to get there, and I'm looking for where she qualified at the end of it, but I believe she's had an upward slope so far this weekend to try and chase down a top 10 result here, Alex. This train here in the warm-up session is what we can expect to see later on today when it comes to feature racing action with Kelvin Zing there going after it. But let's take a look back at what it looked like last year for the 2024 Summer Nationals. You just got a glimpse of Colin Warren making a move in turn 12. Let's look at how Colin Warren got it done last year at pit race. It was an all-out brawl all weekend long. You saw Colin Warren racing up at the front when Caleb G., now USF 2000 race winner, as of yesterday in Mid-Ohio, was driving in second. Gavin Isaacs, rookie, I shouldn't say rookie, but I mean, this is a year where he really broke onto to the national scene with BJR man himself, Mr. Brandon Jarczyk racing in 4th with PPK Coyote, and then further back as well, Dylan Amundsen
was, trying to make some headway in that field as well. But Colin Warren, I mean, he's been the driver to beat in the light class for quite some time. In the medium class as well, and you saw everybody just, getting onto it here, fighting, elbows out racing pretty much for the majority of it.
This was textbook Colin Warren, right? Get out to the lead and control the pace. We saw, if you go back and watch like the last 2 to 3 laps of this race, there was a 2 to 3 car breakaway, and they brought in Jarvis Crack, brought in Dylan Amundsen, even Ian Quinn at the end there got a chance at this one. But like I said, again, the last left-right chicane here hurts the run to the line, and Caleb G just couldn't get it done. But if roles reversed, and we're here at Batavia, Ohio for MCC, and Colin Warren's in that situation, he'll have to back him up a lot more than that to maintain the win, because the run to the line is so long. But Colin Warren looking to go back-to-back here and get Summer Nat's title once again.
And he had to learn a lot in the qualifying session, because it wasn't, I think, nowhere near the standard and the pace that we've seen him. I think at the end of the qualifying session, he qualified 24th. Alex, 24th. To me, you talk about some of the drivers that we see here, and that's, that would be good if a lot of other drivers are coming here on their first national race, but to qualify down in 24th, it's...
I want to say he qualified 11th yesterday in senior light.
Well, that's what it says here for Saturday qualifying. We'll take a better look at it, but even then, I think he was closer to 11. But even then, even in 11th place qualification for Colin Warren, right? Still not where he'd like to be. He's a top 5 driver, top 3 driver even. And again, you see him there just, he's been struggling with a whole lot of grip, I think, in the light kart more than anything.
Yeah, but since that second heat race, really, the senior light karts looked just as good as a medium kart. We spoke to his dad yesterday, and his dad looked at us and he said, did you see that medium kart? and I asked him, I said, are you working on both? He goes, I'm working on the medium go-kart. he had to let me know that the go-kart's looking good, and then they swapped over the medium setup to the light setup, and it worked. And it's a little bit unorthodox, because usually it's a little bit different, light to medium, especially what Colin and Robert kind of talked to me about. But around this racetrack, it's working for them, and there's a couple differences, I think, from what they've done to their medium to light go-kart, but basically they were struggling enough in the light go-kart that they said, you know what, let's try what the medium's doing, and it's working out so far. And I got to say, judging from what qualifying looked like for Colin Warren compared to what the go-kart looks like now, Caleb, it looks a lot better. It's rolling a lot more speed, should I say, because like you said, it looked like it had too much grip in the morning.
Yeah, a lot of drivers have kind of found themselves doing that, right? Kind of replicating setups. We saw Dylan Amundsen, he was quick in the light class. I believe it was a pole position for Dylan in the medium class, Alex. And again, I went over to the 10 and he was like, yeah, now I just got to copy what I did on my medium kart on the light kart. We got to be quick in both. So a lot of drivers are translating setups so that as best as they can. You said the biggest difference, obviously was going to be the gearing with the heavier weight. But even then, they're throwing everything at it. I've seen drivers in between sessions cutting axles, changing wheels, hubs, everything under the book to try and go faster.
This is as much as I've seen at a CKNA event where teams in between sessions are working tirelessly to stay ahead of the racetrack. A lot of teams, a lot of drivers seemingly, I don't say lost, but I think maybe unexpected with the amount of grip that's being thrown down on the racetrack. But with that, Reagan Seville on the GFC, top on the board this morning. Henry Wheeler, McKeithen, Palladino, Owen Lloyd, top 5. Quite a large gap in between, first through 5th there, but a lot of that is just drivers testing different things, seeing where their kart stands compared to everybody else. And again, you can't really compare too much because they're going to roll off a couple hours later, longer than that, for their main event later on today. And again, different track conditions this morning compared to the heat race yesterday and the mains later on today. And obviously, a much longer race is the main versus warm-up. So we'll go further down the order here. Amundsen, Warren, Malkwit, Overbeck, Roserier, rounding out your top 10, all the way back to the likes of Carter Kilgo there in 30th.
Yeah, all the way down in 30th for Kilgo, so not the best pace for him to start off the day. But even then, we're looking at a lot of these drivers to work their way through the order. That being said, for those of you guys looking to join us later on today for the main event racing action, we have 3 more classes here live and free for everybody to view. Sportsman is coming up next with Masters and Senior Medium running up the morning sessions. If you want to watch the racing action live here on Kart Chaser, don't forget, only $9.99 a month. You can become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live from coast to coast. It's cheaper than Netflix. It's cheaper than cable TV. And I bet you it's, I lost it. I forgot what I was going to say there, Alex. I don't know. It's just cheaper.
As I say, it's just cheaper.
There you go. So don't forget, we'd love to see you guys join us here later on today. And as well, it's a huge thank you to CKNA and everybody who's made it possible for me here. And our partner as well, shopakr.com. Micron 6 available now. Don't forget to order yours. Scan the QR code. 10% off sale, July 4th sale on everything. Buy yourself a neck brace, maybe a suit, maybe a pair of shoes. How about a helmet? How about some MXCs? How about a Micron 6?
The Micron 6 is pretty cool, actually. I mean, a lot of the drivers that I coach now at Homestead utilize the Micron 6, and there's a lot you can do with it. I mean, it's a decently sized upgrade from the Micron 5, I'd say. And again, the Micron always and the AIM system's always doing a great job. But I mean, whenever I plug in the Micron 6 now to my data computer, there's a lot more available to you, I'd say, and you can kind of watch along on your phone if you get a certain app. So it's pretty cool to see.
We got some Jason Burgess fans over here waving around some flags over on the bleachers. That's cool to see. A family event here this weekend. Bring the family out in the RV, waving some flags here. Some yellow flags, looks like a white flag, a checkered flag, and a green
No, they
flag
got the right idea. The kid on the right had the halfway to go sticks. The girl on the left there had the 2 to go sticks in the air.
Hey,
so.
I will say, if my brother's sitting in second and there's somebody else I guess looking to pass, I'm waving the yellow flag right there. Dude, that'd be awesome. Actually, that's probably not fair, or I think against the rules maybe.
Maybe.
But I'm doing it. I'd do that for you.
Yeah? Yeah. If I run the Grand Nationals this year, I expect a yellow flag in the last corner.
You'll know, though. It'll be me, and be no passing, so the guy in first isn't even going to block. There you go. Green flag in the air. We're going here in warm-up for Sportsman.
Man, Jason Burgess got a lot shorter. he grew some hair, too.
Yeah. I wonder where the suit went as well. With that being said, we're excited to see the Sportsman class. Yesterday they gave us some great racing action throughout the day. We'll take a look at how they stacked up at the end of the first heat race. Will Feidinger was actually the driver who was able to take it away, the 210 MPG Academy machine. He was over Daniel Dragunov, who was working his way through the field all race long pretty much. Lady Thigpen with the Timmy Tech Comcart, she crossed the line third at the end of the first one with Chase Dixon and pole sitter Hayden Lawson running up your top 5.
Hayden Lawson, the jump from cadet to sportsman this year, and we saw how quick he was in the 2024 Summer Nationals this weekend. He's been just as quick as one driver off the racetrack, the 23 there. I'll have to see if we can get a name to the number.
That's Lincoln DeCoster.
Off the racetrack in turn 11, just again, like I said yesterday, doing some exploring in turn number 11. It's quite an easy corner to actually go off there. It's a blind uphill corner. It's so bumpy at the middle, and if you get the curb just wrong and you miss the exit, you can drop a tire like Brady Shad did yesterday, and it's so easy to just pull you into the dirt. So not the first driver this weekend to do it, probably not the last driver to do it at all.
I tell you what, if I was having a bad day, if this weekend wasn't going my way, I'm driving through that fence, driving onto the fairway back here on the golf course, and I'm playing 9 holes at least to try to blow off some steam, which I think I'd end up getting more mad because my golf game actually hasn't been on point. Still trying to break 100 here, Alex. It's a hard thing to do, it seems like, but nobody's fault but mine. My short game is lacking right now.
Actually, your short game is pretty good.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Oh, golf. Oh, I see.
How about we take a look back at last year where Sawyer Chambers and Nicholas Mose delivered, I think, one of the best last laps that we have seen. Both these drivers, Nicholas Mose actually not joining us here this weekend, but Sawyer Chambers is in the junior side of things here in the Sportsman class. You saw these two drivers go at it pretty much all weekend long. Nicholas was able to win it at the end, but again, you're going to see, I think, a lot of this with a couple of more drivers as well get themselves into the mix. Feidinger, Dragunov, Thigpen, they were all kind of further back in the field here in this one where Chambers made the move up to junior early. We're going to see him be the first main event on the day. And again, he tried everything. Chambers, was deflated at the end of it to not come away with a good result in the end.
I kind of compare pit race often to a track like MCC, where you have these fast-flowing corners, long straights in the middle of the circuit. The only difference, like I've said, is that the run of the line is a little bit longer and straighter here at MCC, and you can allow for that drag race finish, whereas here in the Sportsman class that we saw with Mose going after with Chambers, and again, you kind of want to lead into that last corner if you're at pit race. You don't want to lead in the last corner here at MCC if the guy behind you has the run that's Chambers had, but Mose just was able to hang on to cross the stripe first there in Sportsman. You saw what it meant for him. Unfortunately, he's not here this weekend, but again, we have such good action going on all throughout the day today. The Sportsman class has been fantastic to watch this weekend, Caleb.
Yeah, it definitely has, right? Daniel Dragunov was able to take away that second heat race victory with Hayden Lawson crossing the line in second. Lainey Thickman, again, another third-place finish, put her with a good average finish at the end of the weekend, or at the end of the day yesterday, to come across third. Wolf Eidinger, the driver who won that first heat race, finished fourth in the end, and we'll see how they line up as well later on today here in the Sportsman class. It's going to be Daniel Dragunov on the pole in the 151 with Wolf Eidinger starting on the outside there.
Yeah, Laney Thigpen and Jonathan Bohr have been pretty quick as well. The all-orange helmet, the Burrell chassis, he's quietly had a really strong weekend. I think he's been inside the top 5 for most of the weekend, but with some incidents, occurring around him, he's kind of avoided the chaos. He rolls off fourth. Ryan Hall's been quick on the number 9 machine. Gavin Dyer, we saw him, kind of get into it with a couple drivers in the first heat race. Made amends for it in the second one. You go back to Harrison Burklow. Logan McCloskey on the Burrell as well. The number 20 machine, I got to say the pace has been there for him, but unfortunately the luck hasn't. Hayden Lawson, 20th and last to roll off here for the Sportsman race.
Wow.
I wonder if there was a post-race issue there for the 10 machine.
Yeah, not entirely sure.
We saw the contact with Ryder Thompson and Chase Thixton in the second heat race, but for Hayden Lawson, it's only showing that he got scored for one of the 2 heat races there, Caleb. So it must have been some level of post-race discussion that moved Hayden Lawson to the back of the field here for the main event this afternoon.
Yeah. We'll see later on today, right? He's been one of the quickest drivers, the number 10, and again, this is what it says on the Facebook post by Cup Karts North America as of 10 hours ago. So hopefully this is correct. And yeah, we'll see what Hayden can do later on today. But that being said, this session starting to wind down just that little bit. A couple of other drivers. I mean, you talked about the quiet weekends for the likes of Gavin Dyer, Ryan Hall, Jonathan Bohr, getting themselves just on the edge of the top 3 fight. But we'll see. As of now, this kid has a lot of work to do later on today in that main event, and I'm sure with the pace that he's had this weekend, he's going to try to cut through the field. Luckily today, he has 3 more laps to try and make up 19 spots to try and get himself a Summer Nationals victory in 2/10. Clear the field here in the morning sessions. Checkered flag in the air. Hayden Lawson, fastest on his Lawson Speed Shop machine. Keegan Irwin to Gavin Dyer, Wolf Eidinger, and Laney Thigpen run up your top 5. Harrison Burklow to Chase Thixton, Henrik McKay, Harrison Bell, and Logan McCloskey, your field. Last commercial break here in the morning. We're back with Masters and Senior Media. Maybe you haven't became a KC Premium member, do it now. We're going into main event racing action in about 20 minutes time. We'd like to see you on the other side, but for now, we'll see you on the other side of this commercial. We'll be right back with more.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this branding business, okay? Branding this, branding that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars. Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome. From Briggs 206 to Mini to KA100 and X30 with in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions. Each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound. Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart. Doesn't matter. Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Welcome back here. Your Masters out on the racetrack now, where Mike Dittmer was able to steal one yesterday in heat race number 2. He's leading this field away now in the morning warm-up session here, Alex.
Yeah, we saw a really solid heat number 2 for Mike Dittmer there, and for a moment I thought Eric Fagan, had their number, right? Because the gold chassis, the number 11, the number 111, sorry, Eric Fagan, we know he's a driver that loves to kind of wait till the last couple of laps to make his moves, but in that second heat race, it seemed like anything I said, Caleb, they all did the exact opposite. I thought I was going to predict how this race was going to go. It didn't really go the way I thought it was going to go, and maybe not the way that Eric Fagan thought it was going to go either, but for Michael Dittmer, went exactly how he would have wanted. For Jimmy Bradford, same deal. These two were working together all day long, it seemed like. And again, Dittmer on the Comet Eagle there, Bradford on the MGM, and the 470 behind him, Eli Yanko. He's been, there, right? Maybe the pace has been about a tenth or two off if it comes to one-lap pace with no one in front or behind you, but in a train like this, he's been one of the quickest drivers. He understands what it takes to push around this place. Jimmy Bradford there, I don't think either loved the push that he was getting or just wants to be by himself here this morning because he lets Yanko go through, and now Eli Yanko can go after Michael Dittmer to see how he compares to one of, if not the quickest drivers so far this weekend, the number 77 Comet Eagle of Michael Dittmer. You go further down the order, look back to the 655 of Tim Schutt running double duty, like a lot of these drivers in this Masters class. And again, the Timmy Tech Comp Kart machine has been quick. He did one lap in qualifying to put it third in Legends, and 2 laps in qualifying yesterday to put it third in the Masters class. And Tim Schutt was one of the quickest drivers throughout the day yesterday. Not as quick as maybe Dittmer, the likes of Fagan and Bradford, but Schutt was there. He was the 5th driver in line on that second heat race to kind of take the fight to the rest of the order. Looking back at the heat races yesterday, Caleb, they were split by Fagan and Dittmer. Fagan took the first heat race.
Big ones, right? We've seen Todd Barron run at the front time and time again here, Alex, at Cup Karts North America. But this weekend, just, you know, at a racetrack that I would say is difficult to kind of get to grips with, I think, a little bit, and we've seen how much drivers have struggled with setup. You know, you got to think that for the doctor, Mr. Todd Barron, just missing a little bit here this weekend.
Yeah, but it's one of those question mark situations where you were so fast on Friday, and it seems like the track has gripped up so much for Todd Barron that it's either caught him off guard, they can't figure it out, or what. But the one thing that makes me really curious is that he's got a gold chassis teammate in Eric Fagan, and so to me, either there's different driving styles between the two of them, or just can't make the setup work that Eric Fagan's running. But for Todd Barron, we know he's quick enough to do it. He runs a lot of the Trackhouse Club races in the senior. In the 206 senior class, running with some of the best guys in the country. So we know that when he comes here to CKNA, no matter what class, no matter what race it is, he's a former Grand National champion. I mean, we know how quick he can be. And so for Todd Barron, never count him out, right? We know it's a long race today, 15 laps. He was, you know, within the top 5, top 6 in the Legends class throughout the day, within the top 5 or 6 here in the Masters class as well. So I have no doubt in my mind that if the race comes back to him here in the gold chassis, he'll be there to pounce. We know how aggressive he can be. We saw him at Charlotte, you know, take the fight to Phil Pigdotaro and James Perkins. But here at MCC, it's a little bit of a different story, I think, for Todd.
Yeah, just a bit different, I guess you can say, for Todd. For a couple of others, right, that have been working their way through the weekend. Eli Yanko, I mean, we talked about him a little bit here under his own camp. Updated that graphic for you guys as well at home. We'll be adjusting a couple more as the day goes on. But even then, one driver having a little bit of an off-track excursion. That's Marias, who's currently top 4 here in this session. So that's some good progression out of the LSR machine.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm noticing timing and scoring here. A couple guys just haven't put in a lap yet. Todd Barron, Jeff Chalmers, Eric Fagan, Tim Shutt. I don't think are on the racetrack right now. So a curious decision here to not go out for warm-up. You know, I'm usually one to kind of be an advocate for at least just getting a read on your go-kart. Lap time doesn't really matter, but I think it's better to go out there than not to go out there if you're Todd Barron, Chalmers, Fagan, and Shutt. But I guess that must mean positive things, right? If you feel like you're good enough to not need warm-up, especially if you went out there for the Legends warm-up, which I think all 4 of these guys did, maybe you don't feel like you have to go out there and roll around in the Masters class as well. But with that, new guy top of the board, Eli Yanko on the 470 machine. I spoke about how quick, how underratedly quick he's been throughout the weekend. Expect him to kind of be more towards the front end of the field here when the main event rolls off.
All right, Alex, I have a question for you here, and I think this is a big debate that's been going on as well in the karting paddock throughout some time recently. You know, a lot of drivers, I think, have different strategies when it comes to the attire that you do wear on a given weekend, but I've heard that a lot of drivers, you know, they like to wear long socks under the suit. Are you a short sock kind of guy, you know, on the suit where it's not covering your ankles, or are you wearing those longer, I guess you could say either Nike or the Elite sock style that goes actually into the suit?
I actually I've changed up on this. So I used to wear long socks. I was a Nike Elite sock guy, right? I don't love the Nomex socks. You don't have to wear them, obviously, for go-karting. They're too thin, and they kind of rub my ankle a little bit. But recently, I don't know what it is. I've been a short sock guy, and I don't know if it's because I wear ankle socks normally anyways, but I wear them with a suit too, and my suit's probably a little bit too tight, so it shows a little bit of ankle. I pull a Billy Musgrave half the time when I wear my suit nowadays.
Oh, yeah?
But I think I've also put on some pounds, so that's probably why. But no, I'm a short sock guy. I don't know what it is.
Maybe you're growing.
Finally.
You look a little. Nah, I'm not gonna say that.
It took 21 years.
I tell you what, I'm a big no-show sock guy. You see me walking around the paddock, you're not going to see any socks because it's no-shows. But I got them on.
I don't think you're wearing any.
I got them on. I'll show you. Look, I'll take my shoe off right now. You see them right there? New Balance, nice and breathable. I hate when my feet sweat.
Is this an ad?
No, I'm just saying. I'm big no-show sock guy, right?
Even with the driving shoes?
Even with the driving shoes, because I feel like it gives me a better feel on the pedals when I am driving out there. It gives, because you know it's very very thin socks, you know, good on the pedals. That's just me personally. I like it, and as well, just not a big fan of having sweaty, you know, kind of, you know, from the ankle down. I'm not a fan of that because, you know, I'm not one of the guys that's out there wearing the suit all day. That's not me.
I am.
I put the suit on 10 minutes before the session, and I take it off as soon as I get off the track. Well, not in the scales, but obviously I go back to the trailer, take it off, and I don't put it back on until 10 minutes before the session. Off and on, all the time.
I think for me it always depends on the weather, right? I mean, if it's a weekend like this weekend, I'm definitely suit off as long as I can because it is way too hot out there to wear anything besides shorts and a T-shirt. So I'm with you there.
I wouldn't be wearing socks this weekend. I'd be walking around flip-flops, and I'll just put my racing shoes on, all nice and, you know.
I'm learning a lot about you here.
No, all jokes aside, I mean, let us know if you guys long socks, short socks, no socks. Maybe driving in sandals, barefoot maybe. We saw gloveless last weekend over in Wisconsin. No, I think it's important to wear shoes.
What about balaclava?
That's a big debate.
Because to me,
that's
a
huge one.
You have to.
That's a huge one.
That to me, that's a no-go. All right, I talk about sweaty feet, bro. Sweaty helmet. That I can't wear a helmet without a balaclava. I can't. My ears fold. That's a no-go.
To me, it just depends. I'll say this: I got a big head. All right, so it just it just depends, right? The balaclava has to be nice and thin. The Alpine Stars ones are actually super nice.
Well, actually, I wear the OMP ones.
The karting ones are really nice. I believe those could be available on Shop AKR as well.
10% off.
10% off this weekend. Don't forget to go on there. But you know, to me, it has to be nice and thin so my head can breathe. But if it is hot out there, I'll dabble.
You lost me there. All right, senior medium. Last warm-up of the day. And I bet all these guys have balaclavas on because they don't want to have a stinky helmet.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. Okay, I will say this. When it's as hot as it is this weekend, balaclava stays on. Balaclava stays on. It's hot. You get sweaty. You know, it stays on.
I actually have one of those, like, they're like fans for the helmets.
Oh, you're big time.
Yeah, well, dude, it works.
There you go. Well, how about we focus in on the senior medium class? Yesterday, Colin Warren, Dylan Amundsen showed that the power of friendship runs strong here, and it works out quite well. The two of them pulled away from the rest of the field there in the odd heat race. Yesterday, in the even heat race, it was James Overbeck and Addison Ianello who was able to take the win away. In the end, Henry Wheeler and Ryan Crouch finished third and fourth on the racetrack.
We got the power of friendship in one, the power of love in the other.
Hey, how about that? Heat race number 2, Dylan Amundsen was able to take it away from Colin Warren with Christopher McKeithen and A.J. Roderick finishing third and fourth, just right behind. And then we take a look at Heat 2, even, right? Again, power of friendship. Henry Wheeler, Ian Quinn, James Overbeck, Cameron Reed to Aiden Lorenko.
As much as we joke about power of friendship, this and that,
no, it's important.
Yeah. It's important to have somebody you trust. Obviously, teammates help, but even just somebody that you can trust. Colin Warren, Dylan Amundsen, you know, not the same chassis, but they've been working together for as long as I can remember. Over 7 years now, those two have been, if not under the same tent, at least consistently speaking to each other under the same tent, kind of, you know, dialing in setups for each other. And I've heard oftentimes they actually dial in their setup specifically for who's going to push in what race and who's going to lead until the last lap. I mean, that's as intricate as they go to make sure that they have the best chance at working together as efficiently as possible, and that's what it takes around this place.
This is where I think the problem presents itself, though, because Dylan Amundsen is starting on the pole and Colin Warren is starting on the outside. We have seen some okay starts from the outside line, but I mean, if you're starting on the inside, it's really an absolute freight train that's going to go by you. We saw a couple of drivers get caught out by it in this corner, especially where if you're stuck on that outside line, it's kind of hard, right, to stay with it. And when you have guys like Henry Wheeler on the inside who's, you know, going to be pushed by Christopher McKeithen, you have 3 guys that are going to want to be up there from the start of this race and try and take control, try and guide the race whichever way they want to. They're going to get up to the front, so that's the only problem, right? You have a lot of guys, you know, I would say the team game really not there for anybody outside, obviously, Amundsen and Colin Warren, and then James Overbeck and Christopher McKeithen, the only other 2 drivers that are on the same chassis. Henry Wheeler, the, I guess you could say, odd man out, starting third. Addison Ianello not too far back in 6th, and she was saying that her struggle point in heat race number 2 was just a changing racetrack. They weren't on top of it, couldn't stay onto it, and her dad was actually hard at work last night. One of the last, you know, I guess you could say mechanics, parents under the tent working till late hours to try and get that medium cart as fast as possible.
I gotta say, if you're in this medium class and you're Wheeler, Overbeck, McKeithen in that front couple of rows, you better split up Amundsen and Colin Warren, because those two, you know, once they get hooked up, it is tough to split those two up. And again, here, even in the warm-up session, these two have found each other on the racetrack. They probably rolled out together on the racetrack, and right now they sit 1 and 2 at the moment here in warm-up as well. So this is just one of the situations where you got to split these two up if you want a chance at this one.
Or you're going to see a lot of what we saw last year. How about we take a look back at the 2024 Summer Nationals. Look back to pit race, and up front it was Dylan Amundsen and Colin Warren. A lot similar to what we're seeing this weekend. The two of them had been working together with Owen Lloyd, who was chasing him down in third, and James Overbeck. You saw Lloyd was able to split him up. Overbeck split him up by a lot, putting Colin down in fifth with Hudson Brown. Then trying to work his way through with Brandon Jarsakrak, who was racing up there as well this weekend. And they did exactly what they needed to do to try and get to that rear bumper. Unfortunate for them this weekend, Owen Lloyd is way down the order, having to work his way after a DNS in the first heat race to start things off. But again, last year it was with TS Racing and, you know, joining longtime friend Colin Warren on that VLR chassis. This year it's a return to home for Dylan Amundsen. He was close in Charlotte a couple of times, couldn't really capitalize to make the perfect story, I guess fairy tale start to his stint with MGM. But this weekend it's looking real good. He's starting on the pole later on today, and he looks to relive the same moment he had last year, going back to back here in Summer Nationals victories, Alex.
Yeah, and again, you talked about it, right? Owen Lloyd proved that he had the pace to go out there and get it done. That second senior medium heat race was as impressive of a drive as you can make it happen on a class so competitive. But when you only start one of the two heat races, one good finish is not enough when you have 0 points to show for in the next one. So he rolls off 45th here today, Caleb. A lot of go-karts to pass. He's got 15 laps to do it. That means 3 go-karts a lap if he wants a chance to win the race.
That's a lot of work for Dylan Amundsen. How about a couple of drivers that worked their way through the order? Cameron Reed, she was on an absolute tear yesterday, I believe. Started the heat races almost from dead last.
Yeah, in both.
Started almost from dead last. She's starting 10th here today. The 609 was absolutely flying all day yesterday. A couple of other drivers. We saw Reagan Seville end off the light, morning session in the best way possible here in medium. He has a lot of work to do. He's starting down in 33rd with a fellow chassis team member, Jack Grote, the 171. We've seen him be up at the front. I believe he's starting closer to the top 10. He's starting 18th on the Wicked Racing GFC.
A couple more. I mean, you look at that. You look around the Reagan Seville area. Katie Yeager, 31st with a DNF a rough heat number 2. He got back going and finished in last though in that one. Adriano Iannuzzi in the incident in heat number 2. He's starting 34th. You go back to Gavin Isaacs in 42nd. We spoke to him yesterday, and he said, listen, I mean, it seems like no matter what he does this weekend, they just been struggling for pace. 2 stuck to the racetrack one session, 2 free the next session. They've been a little bit lost on that 416 machine.
And they've been a little bit lost, but somebody who was found yesterday indeed was Cameron Reed. We'll see what she can do later on today. We'll see what they all can do later on today. It's time to go racing in main event racing at about 10:50 to see how it all unfolds in 2025 at the Summer Nationals. You're watching Kart Chasers live coverage of CKNA. We thank you guys for joining us here for the morning. We'll be back later today